Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, wondering, I used to be pretty smart as a kid, so how did my life end up so tangled and confusing? I know this question might feel like a tiny needle that's been quietly pricking at you for years. Behind it lies the shared confusion of countless once-gifted kids as they grow into adulthood. We were praised for being smart from an early age, burdened with high expectations. We were the ones who could breeze through advanced math problems, the class monitors who could recite entire passages from memory. We were our teacher's pride, our parents' favorite story to tell at family gatherings. Our life script had been written long ago. Prestigious universities, respectable careers, the picture of success. So why is it that when we finally step into the real world, we feel like travelers clutching outdated maps, completely lost in an unfamiliar jungle? In this video, we'll explore the reasons behind it and take a closer look at how the intelligence we once took pride in has, in adulthood, become the very chains that hold us back. Trust me, by the end of this episode, not only will you gain a level of clarity about your current confusion like never before, but more importantly, you'll discover the key to unlocking those chains and finding your way out of the maze. And, at the very end, I'll share a deeply personal insight I've kept to myself for a long time. A simple yet powerful way of thinking that can help you find your own light in the fog and snap into clarity in an instant. So make sure you stay with me until the end. 1. Your intelligence is a carefully crafted cage. Have you ever noticed something strangely unsettling? The more children are praised for being smart from a young age, the more afraid they become of making mistakes as they grow up. They become less willing to take risks and may even shy away from opportunities. Why does this happen? Has our intelligence somehow expired? No, your intelligence hasn't expired. But your understanding of what it means to be smart may have been distorted from the very beginning. Carol Dweck, a renowned psychologist at Stanford University, introduced a groundbreaking concept in her book Mindset: The New Psychology of Success, the Fixed Mindset, and the Growth Mindset. Children who are frequently told you're so smart are more likely to develop a fixed mindset. In our subconscious, being smart becomes defined as an innate, unchangeable trait that it's as if our IQ is a fixed value set at birth, high and precious, and our task is simply to keep proving that it exists. As a result, our school years become a long journey of proving how smart we are. Getting first place is to prove I'm smart. Solving difficult problems is to prove I'm smart. Receiving praise from teachers is still to prove I'm smart. All our efforts are directed toward a single goal: maintaining the image of being smart. This model works seamlessly in school because the evaluation system is extremely one-dimensional: grades. It provides the perfect stage for us to continuously collect evidence that I'm smart. But this mindset has a fatal flaw. It's like a spell that quietly places two curses on us. 1. You absolutely cannot fail. In a fixed mindset, failure means I'm not smart. A poor test score or losing a competition might be a minor setback for someone else, but for us, it's a devastating blow to our core sense of self-worth. That's terrifying, so we instinctively avoid any challenge where failure is a possibility. We'd rather repeat success 100 times in an area we're already good at than take a single risk, exploring something new where we might fail. 2. You must make it look effortless. Hidden within the persona of being smart is an unspoken message: I can succeed without trying. So we begin to engage in performative learning, pretending we aced the test without studying much, pretending we handled everything with ease. We're embarrassed to ask questions because that would mean I don't understand. We're reluctant to seek help because that would mean I can't handle it. We tightly conceal our real struggles and vulnerabilities, all to preserve the illusion of being a genius. Just like Will in the movie Good Will Hunting, a math prodigy who can effortlessly solve problems that stump MIT professors. But he's also a janitor filled with fear, someone who would rather stay in his old neighborhood drinking and getting into fights with his buddies than take a job that would let him use his talents or open himself up to a genuine, meaningful relationship that in his world. The moment he tries, the moment he puts in the effort. What if he fails? Then the halo of his genius would instantly shatter. He would go from being a legend who could have been anyone to just an ordinary person who is nothing special. This label of being smart is like a gilded cage. It looks dazzling, showering us with praise and glory, but it also traps us. It robs us of the courage to try, strips us of the right to make mistakes, and cuts us off from our true selves. So, the first root of our confusion comes precisely from the intelligence we take the most pride in. It instills in us a deep fear of failure, turning life from a journey of experience and growth into a test we must pass without ever losing. When we leave campus and step into the real world, a world full of uncertainty and devoid of standard answers, the flaws of our cage become fully exposed. We're afraid to choose, afraid to try, afraid to fail. In the end, we become stuck, unable to move forward, living like isolated islands. 2. The track suddenly disappears, and you're lost in a vast wilderness without a map. From childhood through adolescence, we've been racing down a crowded, but clearly defined track. That track is called academic advancement. From elementary school to middle school to high school and then to college, the goals are clear, the rules are well established, and at every step, someone tells you what to do. But have you ever wondered, after we cross the finish line of college graduation, what truly awaits us? Is it a broader, more open track, or a vast, unmarked wilderness? This is the second and more common reason for our confusion: the collapse of the evaluation system and the explosive expansion of life's dimensions. Imagine our life as a video game. For the first 20 years, we're playing the tutorial level. This level is brilliantly designed. The goal is singular: get high scores. The path is clear: attend classes, do homework, take exams. Feedback is immediate: grades, rankings, and NPCs, teachers, parents, are constantly assigning tasks and offering hints. We, the smart players, excel at this kind of game. We quickly grasp the rules, find the optimal strategies, level up by overcoming challenges, rack up high scores, and earn praise. However, on the day of college graduation, a system notification popped up. Congratulations, you've completed the tutorial level. Welcome to open world mode. Suddenly, everything changed. 1. The goal shifted from singular to multiple. In the past, there was only one objective: getting into a good university. But now, is it landing a good job? And what exactly does good mean? A high salary? Light workload? Close to home? Strong career prospects? Or something you genuinely enjoy? Is it getting married and starting a family? Or pursuing personal fulfillment? Is it buying a house and a car? Or traveling the world? Countless goals unfold before you like stars in the sky. Each one seems valid, but you have no idea which one truly belongs to you. 2. The path shifted from clear to uncertain. The path used to be clear: just follow the outline. Now, if you want to get to point A, there might be 100 different routes. Some are smooth but long, some are rough but fast, and some offer beautiful scenery, but are full of uncertainty. No one gives you a standard path anymore. You even have to draw the map yourself. In the end, and perhaps most frustratingly, the feedback system has shifted from immediate to delayed, or even non-existent. In the past, you could study hard for a semester and see the results right after the final exam. Now, you might work hard for a year without any change in your position or salary. You might invest deeply in a relationship that ultimately leads nowhere. You might devote yourself to a hobby for years without seeing any tangible results. The lack of this kind of positive reinforcement can be incredibly damaging for us smart players who grew up being fed constant instant feedback. It makes us seriously doubt ourselves. Is all my effort pointless? Am I heading in the wrong direction? There's a brutally honest line in the Japanese drama Quartet. There are 3 kinds of slopes in life: uphill, downhill, and the unexpected. Since we were young, we were only taught how to push through the uphill climbs. But no one ever taught us what to do when we hit a downhill slide or face countless unexpected turns. We're like animals raised in captivity, growing up in a zoo, fed on schedule, and living in a safe, stable environment. One day, we were suddenly released into the wilderness. Faced with the complex laws of nature, we were instantly overwhelmed. We have strong muscles, that is, a solid foundation of knowledge, but we lack the instinct for survival in the wild, which means the ability to deal with uncertainty. 1.so. The second source of our confusion lies in the sudden shift in the rules of the game called life. We were abruptly thrown from a linear track with clear goals, defined rules, and immediate feedback into an open world, with multiple objectives, unclear paths, and delayed feedback. The high-scoring strategy guide we once took pride in has become completely useless in this new world. We haven't gotten dumber, we just don't have a map, and we don't yet understand how to play in this vast wilderness. 3. Your brain is overfed, while your heart has been starving. Let me ask you something. Are you the kind of person who's great at analyzing pros and cons, who can reason through anything and logically make sense of it all, but still can't get a handle on your own emotions? Do you often feel a sense of emptiness inside, unsure why you're unhappy, and unable to find something you're truly passionate about? Our brains are well fed with knowledge, polished and sharp, but what about our hearts? Have they been left starving all this time? This is the third and perhaps the most hidden reason behind our confusion. Prolonged emotional neglect has led to a deep sense of self-alienation. As we grow up, being smart is often equated with being rational, calm, and obedient. Being emotional, sensitive, or moody is often seen as a sign of being immature or not understanding how the world works. When you're upset about not doing well on an exam, you might hear, "What's the use of crying? You'd be better off solving a couple more problems." When you feel wronged after an argument with a friend, you might hear, "It's not a big deal. Don't be so petty." When you show interest in something considered useless, you might hear, "What's the point of messing with that nonsense? Can it put food on the table?" Over time, we develop a survival skill, suppressing and isolating our emotions. We start to believe that emotions are a burden, something to be managed and controlled, rather than listened to and understood. Our cerebral cortex, responsible for rational thinking, has become unusually developed, while our limbic system, which governs emotional experiences, has been suppressed for a long time. As a result, our connection to our true feelings has been severed. This leads to two very serious consequences. 1. We lose our inner compass. Emotions are actually a crucial part of our internal navigation system. They function like a compass needle, guiding us toward what we truly desire and away from what we should avoid. Joy means move closer. Fear means be cautious. Anger means my boundaries have been crossed. When we disconnect from our emotions, this compass stops working. So, when making major life decisions, like choosing a major, a job, or a partner, we're great at using our brains to conduct a SWOT analysis, listing out all the pros and cons. But we forget to ask ourselves the most important question: how do I feel? When I do this, do I feel fulfilled or drained inside? We end up choosing the option that seems right, but not the one we truly want. And then, day after day, we walk down this right path, feeling our lives slowly wither away. 2. We've lost the ability to cope with real pain. Because we never learned how to live with negative emotions as children, when we face real setbacks as adults, like a breakup, losing a job, or the death of a loved one, we completely fall apart. Our brain tells us to be strong and rational, but the overwhelming sadness, anger, and fear inside us often remain unresolved. This painful disconnect between mind and body can tear us apart. To escape this indescribable inner torment, we may resort to addictive behaviors, binge eating, excessive gaming, compulsive shopping, just to numb ourselves. Psychologist Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." The emotions we suppress don't disappear. They simply sink deeper into our subconscious, silently influencing our decisions, draining our life energy, and pulling us deeper into a mire of confusion. So, the third root of our confusion is a 20-year-long period of emotional malnutrition. We've been trained to be excellent problem solvers, but not healthy experiencers of life. Our minds know how to chase success, but our hearts don't know where home is. When we feel lost, it's actually the hungry child within us crying out for help, longing to be seen, heard, and understood. For falling into the efficiency trap, we've killed the interesting version of ourselves. Do you remember? As children, we could spend an entire afternoon fascinated by ants moving their colony. We could argue passionately with our friends over a silly question. We could throw a bed sheet over our shoulders and pretend to be superheroes. Back then, our world was full of things that were useless, but endlessly interesting. And now, you might even feel guilty for spacing out for just 5 minutes. Is what we call growing up actually a carefully orchestrated campaign to hunt down and eliminate anything considered useless? This is the fourth reason for our confusion, one that is deeply rooted in our times. We've been alienated by a society that worships utilitarianism and efficiency, turning us into mere tools. Smart kids have one defining trait. They're especially good at identifying key points and planning the most efficient route to a clear goal. This skill offers a huge advantage in exam-focused education. But when we apply this mindset to life, that's when things start to fall apart. We begin to evaluate everything by a single metric. Is it useful? Reading books? Only the useful ones. Those that improve your skills or boost your income. Novels? A complete waste of time. Making friends? Only with useful people. Those with connections and resources. The so-called buddies who just want to hang out and drink? Time to cut them off. Pursuing hobbies? Can the hobby be monetized? Can it become my second curve? If not, then forget it. Our lives have become a tightly packed KPI scorecard. We strive to read the most books in the least amount of time, to meet the most people in the most efficient way, to get the quickest returns by learning the latest skills. We live like high-speed machines, constantly calculating the return on investment. British philosopher Bertrand Russell wrote in his book In Praise of Idleness, "Modern man thinks too much and lives too little." Our minds are filled with methodologies and goals, yet our lived experiences have become unusually barren and monotonous. This contempt for useless things is precisely what stifles the very roots of our intelligence. We forget that the whimsical ideas of our childhood, the relentless curiosity to get to the bottom of things, and the boundless imagination all came from useless play and exploration. Play is the highest form of learning. In play, we pursue no utilitarian goals. We explore, create, and connect purely out of curiosity and passion. This process is precisely what nourishes our inspiration, creativity, and vitality. But now, we've lost the ability to play. We've even turned leisure and entertainment into tasks to check off. When we travel, we aim to visit the most attractions, take the most beautiful photos, and post the coolest updates on social media. When we watch a movie, we first check the ratings and reviews to make sure those 2 hours are worth it. We can't truly immerse ourselves or enjoy the experience for its own sake, because there's always a voice in our heads asking, what's the point? When all the useless, soft, and fun parts of life are stripped away, leaving only the useful, rigid, and utilitarian ones, our lives become nothing more than a slab of concrete that IT looks flat and efficient, but it's lifeless. So, the fourth root of our confusion is that, either consciously or unconsciously, we've killed the curious, playful child within us in the name of efficiency and utility. We've turned life into a checklist instead of an experience. When the fun and flavor of life disappear, leaving only function and utility, confusion and emptiness are inevitable. It's not that we can't find direction. It's that we've flattened every landscape that once brought us joy and meaning. 5. The world isn't a multiple-choice question, yet you're always looking for the right answer. We've spent over a decade training ourselves to become top-tier problem solvers. We excel at identifying the one correct answer among options A, B, C, and D. But when life hands you its massive exam paper, were you left stunned? Because not only are there no options, it doesn't even come with a question. You have to write that yourself. This is the fifth point where we often feel lost, and it represents a major mental block. We're accustomed to linear thinking that seeks the right answer, yet we struggle to navigate the ambiguity and complexity of the real world. At its core, our education system is answer-oriented. It assumes that every question has a single standard correct answer, and our job is to find that answer through study and training. This process significantly enhances our convergent thinking, the ability to distill a vast amount of information into a single point. This kind of thinking is highly effective when dealing with closed problems that have clear rules, such as in mathematics or physics. However, the real world is fundamentally problem-oriented. It's filled with open-ended, ambiguous issues that lack standard solutions, so-called wicked problems. Should I stay in a big city to build my career or return to my hometown for a more stable life? There's no standard answer. Should I marry someone who truly loves me but has average prospects, or keep waiting for someone who's a better match? There's no standard answer. Should I go for a stable job or take a risk and chase a dream? There is no definitive answer. When faced with these issues, we smart kids often fall into a state of analysis paralysis. We obsessively gather information, trying to use logic to calculate the optimal solution. We ask all our friends, consult various life coaches, and scroll through countless posts on Jihu and Zaya Hongshu, desperately searching for a formula that will guarantee we make the right choice. What we fear isn't the act of choosing itself, but the consequences of choosing wrong. In our minds, making the wrong choice equals failure, and failure means I'm not smart. The film Mr. Nobody explores this dilemma in an extreme and thought-provoking way that at the age of 9, the protagonist Nemo faces a choice: to go with his father or his mother. This decision splits his life into countless parallel universes. The film explores the different paths his life could take depending on the choices he makes. Some filled with joy, others with sorrow, success, or failure. In the end, the movie reminds us that before any choice is made, everything is possible, which means every possibility matters. We often feel lost because we want to predict the right outcome before making a decision. We try to stand at point A and see the full landscape of all the paths leading to B, C, D, and E, hoping to pick the perfect one. But life doesn't work that way. You can only see what lies along the road to be once you've started walking it. We have an unhealthy obsession with certainty, while the defining characteristic of the real world is uncertainty. This fundamental conflict leaves us feeling deeply anxious and helpless at every life crossroads where we must define the problem ourselves and create our own answers. 5. So, the fifth root of our confusion is that we try to tackle life's dilemmas with a problem-solving mindset. We treat life like a giant multiple-choice question, always searching for the one perfect answer that will earn us a perfect score. But life is more like an improvisational performance. There's no script, no standard answer. The only criteria for judgment are whether you are engaged, whether you are sincere, and whether you take responsibility for your own choices. When you stop searching for the right answer and start creating your own answer, the fog of confusion will truly begin to clear. 6. You lose your true self in countless mirrors. As children, our world was simple. We lived among a few funhouse mirrors, our parents, teachers, and classmates. The reflections they showed us might have been a bit distorted, but at least they were stable and consistent. As we grow older, it feels like we're living in a room made of countless shards of mirrors. There's one at work, one on social media, one at home, and another in front of friends. Each one reflects a different version of you. So, which one is the real you? Or rather, after putting on so many different faces, do you still remember who you really are? This is the 6th stage of our confusion, and it reflects a profound dilemma in the realm of social psychology. In today's fragmented society, we are facing a serious identity crisis. Sociologist Charles Cooley proposed the theory of the looking glass self. He believed that our self-perception is largely shaped by imagining how others see us. This process involves 3 steps. 1. I imagine how I appear to others. For example, my coworkers see me as competent. 2. I imagine how others judge that appearance. For example, my coworkers admire my competence. Based on this imagined evaluation, I develop a certain sense of self. For example, I feel proud and confident in my abilities. In traditional, stable social structures, like those we experienced in childhood, the number of mirrors we encountered was limited and consistent. Parents, teachers, and a few regular playmates. Their perceptions of us collectively shaped a relatively unified sense of self. But everything has changed in modern society. First, the number of mirrors we face has skyrocketed. At work, you're expected to play the role of a professional, reliable, and emotionally composed employee. Among friends, you might be carefully curating an image of a refined and upbeat lifestyle. In front of your parents, you're still the obedient child who shares only good news and hides your worries. And to strangers online, you might come across as a sharp-tongued keyboard warrior. We are like skilled actors, moving effortlessly between different stages, expertly switching masks. The question is, at the end of the day, when you take off all the masks and are alone, do you feel a sense of emptiness? Who is the real me, without any roles or personas? 2. The standards of judgment from these mirrors are contradictory. The mirror of consumerism tells you to define yourself through what you buy, that owning the latest gadgets and wearing the trendiest clothes makes you cool. The mirror of hustle culture tells you to work 996, grind nonstop, chase money, and climb the social ladder to be considered successful. Meanwhile, the mirror of the laid-back lifestyle tells you to lie flat, stay zen, and seek poetry and faraway places to be truly awake. These conflicting values are like countless hands pulling us from all directions. We try to please every mirror, striving to excel in every system of evaluation. As a result, we are torn apart, losing our inner coherence and moral compass. We, the so-called smart kids, are especially skilled at pleasing. We can keenly sense the expectations around us and quickly adapt to meet them. This used to be a survival advantage, but today it has become the root of our identity crisis. We're so good at playing the right role in others' eyes that we forget what role we truly want to play. 6. So, the sixth root of our confusion is that in this fragmented world, we have lost a unified and stable sense of self, and we have become a collection of countless fragmented mirror selves. Yet we cannot find the core that can bring all the pieces together. It's not that we lack direction, but that too many directions are pulling at us simultaneously, leaving us spinning in place and draining all our energy. Confusion has become a defining mark of our era, branded onto everyone who tries to live life with sincerity. Now, as we look back and reflect, we realize that the crown of intelligence is actually a gilded cage. It makes us afraid of failure and hesitant to make mistakes. We realize that the once clear path of life has suddenly disappeared, and we've been cast into an uncharted wilderness. Feeling utterly lost, we've come to realize that our overfed brains have cut us off from our hungry hearts, leaving us without an inner compass. In our obsessive pursuit of efficiency, we've ended up killing the useless but fascinating parts of ourselves. In our attempt to find a standard answer to life's open-ended question, we've become trapped in endless analysis and paralysis. And in the reflection of countless social mirrors, we've lost sight of who we truly are. You see, your confusion isn't because you're lazy or because you're not trying hard enough, and certainly not because you become less intelligent. Your confusion is inevitable. It's a spark that naturally emerges when your intelligence collides with this complex world, even if that spark comes with a sting. But I want to tell you this: confusion is not the end. It is, in fact, the true beginning of growth. It's a signal, a reminder that the old version of you, the one shaped by the outside world, can no longer adapt to the new reality. You need to break through it and rediscover who you truly are. This may be a painful process, but it is also a heroic journey, a transformation from proving yourself to becoming yourself. Finally, I want to share a quote I deeply love. It comes from a letter Austrian poet Rainer Maria Rilke wrote to a young poet. You must love your confusion just as you love your pain. You must believe that every problem you encounter in life is like a room you cannot yet enter, and the key is hidden within the problem itself. Now, try to embrace these questions instead of rushing to find the answers. Right now, you're not yet in a place where you can truly live the answers. What matters is to live through everything. So for now, live your questions. And one day, without even realizing it, you will have lived your way into the answers. Alright, let's finally reveal the mystery we left at the beginning of the video. The core mindset that can instantly bring you clarity. It's called the time folding method. Try to imagine yourself standing at the end of your life, looking back at this very moment. Would the stress, anxiety, and confusion you're experiencing now still feel as significant? Do the expectations of others and society's standards really define what you must follow throughout your life? When you view your current struggles through a longer-term perspective, you'll realize that many of the things bothering you now are actually insignificant. What truly matters, the things you deeply yearn for and that genuinely fill your heart, are the lights worth pursuing. That's all for today's video. Thank you for watching, and I hope it was helpful. Your confusion is the most precious gift this era has given you. Now go out and live it. See you in the next episode.